Welcome to JK Games, the game podcast where we bring you the gaming news we care about.
And maybe some that we don't.
And whether you play on easy mode, this is the show that will try to level up your gaming. No!
Yeah.
So don't worry, I'm not going to do the whole show with Kayla in this tiny phone. This is my co-host, Kayla. I'm actually going to hang up now. Bye, Kayla.
Bye. Y'all have a great time.
Say hey to Greg.
Hey, I'll see you soon. Not soon, but you know what I mean. You'll see the show.
Howdy. Welcome to the show, Greg.
How are you, Jerica? It's been too long. And by too long, I mean I called you on your birthday one time, but like you know what I mean.
You know, just playing games, trying to eat lasagna before lunch. That's sort of my thing now. That's what me and Greg talked about on my birthday. I had lasagna. He called me when I was eating lasagna on my birthday, so that's what I do.
That's all you do. That's how you define yourself.
That's what
I do. No, you do way more than that, of course. I was what? Yeah, your wife or girlfriend? Am I gonna head
my girlfriend.
Sorry, I don't.
I mean, we should. Hey, the goal is to get married soon. We've been engaged for a while, so.
Okay, there you go. See,
yeah,
that's what. Yeah, okay.
Close enough. It might as well at this point.
Bring her in the room. I'll officiate right here on JK Games. It's fine. But perfect. No, she had reached out for your birthday and was like, "Hey, it's her birthday. Could you do something?" I think she's wanted a call or a voice memo. But then I got the phone number and I called on the day, and yeah, you were eating lasagna at a ridiculously early hour.
Yeah, you know, it's before lunch. We wanted to get some Destiny 2 game action in that day, so
okay, so you had to get it out of the way. Just get it out of the way.
Yeah.
I understand. I appreciate that. And that's the thing. So for you, of course, this is your show. I don't mean to host it or anything, but you're on here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames as we go. Talk to everybody about the podcast you do, because when she reached out, I was like, all right, I'll see about this. And then I listened to one of your episodes, like, oh, this is actually a good podcast. So what is JK Games?
JK Games is a podcast hosted by myself and my other co-host Kayla. We're just two ladies that love playing video games, and also we've been friends for a while. So we're like, why aren't we doing this, you know, together on a camera every week for fun? Because we talk about it all the time in our personal lives. So, and Kayla has other content that she makes. She does like the makeup stuff and all that. So luckily she's already pretty talented in being in front of camera and talking, creating conversations. So we were just like, let's just do it. So we did.
And how long have you been doing it now?
It's been a little over 2 years.
Hell
and
yeah.
I'll say this, like we're a very casual podcast. We don't really like, you know, we're strictly doing it for fun and just enjoyment, which I know a lot of people are. But we're very casual, and JK Games is obviously a podcast. Obviously if you're in the gaming, you're gonna love it. But we have a lot of random topics we talk about. Like one episode, Kayla was just talking about a personal experience. She went to a rodeo and then somehow ended up at a cowboy church. And then we talked about getting platinum trophies on our PlayStation. So it's
you're literally the meme that always goes around of like once you hit like 30 or whatever, you instead of hanging out with friends, you just podcast. That's just how you do it.
That's it. That's all we do.
Gotcha. Hey, I respect it. That's how I talk to everybody too. Jared Petty keeps trying to hit me up for GDC, and I keep being like, just get on a show. Just come talk on a show.
But yeah, we try to make our episodes, anybody can listen. Like, we have 3 different modes: easy mode, normal mode, hard mode. We just really focus on, like, easy mode, which me and you will do here in a second if you're cool with it.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
awesome.
I don't want anything hard.
Yeah, me neither. Not today. We will save, I have a few questions for you, Greg, for our expert hard mode today.
Ooh.
I got a few questions for you, if you don't mind me asking them.
So are they like trivia questions?
No.
Okay.
Oh, is there trivia? Would you rather have trivia?
No, I was just making sure I understood. Where you're like, these are hard questions. I'm like, oh man, is it going to be like, what year did PlayStation do? I'm like, I don't know.
No, don't worry. Not testing
for good.
that side of your brain today.
Thank you, good.
But yeah, normally for easy mode, we just talk about what we've been playing, what we've been doing. Just catching up for the week, and we try to have an episode out like every week, but usually it's every other week. It's just like a lot of other people, we have other things we have to do, and just trying to squeeze in the time is probably the most challenging part of doing this. So
what do you do for work?
I'm in sales, I can say that.
Okay, fair enough. That's fine.
Yeah.
And so then, what draws you to then do the podcast? Because obviously you like playing games. I would imagine you want to use your free time mainly to play games, but then often you want to do the show. What makes you want to do the show?
Obviously, I just like we all have opinions about things, and I love sharing mine
Got
and
it.
listening to Kayla and talking about the new games that are out, what we think about them. We do have a small group of people that we have a fantasy league that we've put together this year. You know, the picks and see who wins, like best scored games of the year. We've done that 3 years in a row. So our close group, actually Cody, the gentleman in the episode that I think you listened to,
Right.
when we talked about Life
When
is
you were
Strange,
like,
and I
welcome
forgot.
back to the show. And he's like, I've never been on this show before.
Lost track of, you know, if he's been on the show or if I've seen him in real life. So, but Cody's an excellent critique of games. He has a little blog that I like to read and sort of bring into our show because he does like to write about games.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you know, we got a little group that we are always talking about the latest and greatest. And you know, I'm still trying to play Horizon Forbidden West, and everyone else is playing Elden Ring, and I'm like, y'all, I can't. I got
Poor
it's a
Horizon.
role. I know it's so sad. 'cause
Horizon
it's
got
an
literally a
incredible
week
game.
in the sun, and then it was just like, bye.
I know. So like my rule is I cannot play Elden Ring until I beat Horizon.
Okay.
So that's
Okay.
like that's
Where are
the
you at
thing
in
I'm
Horizon right
doing.
now then?
I finally made it to the Forbidden West.
Okay.
That took a while.
Yeah,
A little bit longer than I anticipated. But now I'm so distracted by all the side quests because they're so good. I've gotten to one of the, I forget what they call them, like the big chambers underground
Cauldrons.
that you're trying to, thank you, cauldrons. I've done one of those and had a little, you know, not spoiling anybody, but a big plot twist
Sure, I
that I'm
remember
really
it. I
excited
remember
for to see where that goes. But that's where I'm at.
Excellent. Yeah, I can't believe that I haven't Platinum Horizon, and I also can't believe that I won't Platinum Horizon for a long time. Because there's just this review season doesn't stop, Jerica. It just keeps coming, you know? It's like, I can't believe that there's every week now something else huge to play that I need to play. And I'm enjoying to play, too. It's not even like I'm, you know, well, Martha is dead, I didn't enjoy. But, you know, I'm not pushing myself to play things that are just to play to be part of the conversation. I'm pushing stuff that I actually want to be a part of.
I couldn't imagine. There's so many things I want to play, and I just keep thinking if I had to do this and have it done by a certain date, it'd be so stressful. Because I really want to sit down and enjoy it, especially a game like Horizon, because literally like all the side quests I'm having a great time with.
Of course,
so I don't want to like
so
rush
well done.
through it.
They're so well done, yeah.
Yeah. So. But yeah, we're sort of already diving into an easy mode. With easy mode on our podcast, we talk about what we've been playing. And Greg, if you can share, if you want to talk about what you've been playing, anything that you can talk about.
For sure,
I'd love to hear
yeah.
it.
I can share that last night I started Ghostwire Tokyo, and that there will be a
Okay.
preview soon. That's as far as I can go with
Ooh.
that. So you get that. I'm still, yesterday we did a giant stream for WWE 2K22, which I know I've talked about and reviewed on the Gamescast this week, but I'll tell you what, like I was on cloud nine yesterday at the end of the day because it was just a great day of content because, you know, we had Samojo, who's a friend on Games Daily with me, then we streamed 3 hours of WWE 2K, and then Fuego del Sol, kind of funny best friend who I'd never met before, came on. He's an AEW wrestler too. He came on the Kind of Funny podcast yesterday and had a great show. And I came upstairs like on cloud nine, and so much of it was that the content was great, but then it was just the fact of like, I love wrestling games. Wrestling games for me are so core to my journey to here and like what made me want to get into video game reporting and reviewing games and what I played for fun. And so to be here in 2022, the year of our Lord, and have a great WWE game that I haven't had in forever. I haven't been like, I even when I was reviewing them, they weren't work. Like I hated it. Obviously it's fun to play wrestling every so often, but I wasn't like, I can't wait to get back to it. And so to have a wrestling game again that I can't wait to get back to is one thing. To have a wrestling game that I played with Mike and Blessing in the community yesterday, and it was like, that's a different thing of like having like it felt a little bit in high school to go over to Mike O'Brien's house and play No Mercy or WrestleMania 2000 and have that group of just people who want to screw around. And wrestling is always such an interesting thing to make into a video game because, of course, it's choreographed to a degree of, you know, who's going to win and who's going to go on. You go out into the ring in wrestling, professional wrestling, and the idea is to put on a great show. It doesn't really matter who wins or loses as long as it was an entertaining match and people had fun and there's all these cool spots and things like that. And so, you know, yesterday, to do a triple threat with Mike and Blessing in what is a fighting game, right? You want to win. There is a winner and a loser, and two losers in this one. That match, you know, was hilarious to lose because Mike still didn't understand that like one fall was going to finish it. Like Blessing pinned me and he let it happen. But the build up to that was so much fun. And then to go into Elimination Chamber and have it be the three of us and then three kind of funny best friends who had the game early and jumped in too. And like the fact that Mike had me beat, but he went for two, it was me and him at the end of the match. He had me beat, but rather than pin me, he went to the top and jumped off and then hit the move. But we were both like, it built like a real wrestling match to me beating him with it. And it was like, even if I would have lost that, I wouldn't have been angry. Like when I play, when I'm trying to win at Injustice and my fat fingers just can't do a combo, I get angry. But like this wrestling game is approachable enough that you can jump in and not have a degree in caring about ring psychology. But then also if you want to be a crazy person like myself and, memorize all your moves and know when you're going to a float over DDT, you can still have fun and you can still put on a great show. And it doesn't matter at the end if you win or lose. And like, I did 3 hours of it and I'm so hungry for more. Like I can't wait to do another stream with everybody. I can't wait to see what the community creates and go ahead and do that and get a federation going and figure out like how to do a kind of funny tournament together and stuff like that. Like I'm so excited to play more of that it's also one of those things of in the same way I'm excited to Platinum Horizon. Now it's like, man, when am I going to get back to WWE? I have to start like, I'm jonesing for that where it's going to have to be that I play a couple matches and then go to work on whatever I'm working on.
To say I don't know a lot about wrestling, but I love your love for it. And I know recently, at some point on Twitter, you shared or someone's making a documentary of your
backyard wrestling hijinks. Yeah,
that's it. And I was like, that's really neat. I never knew, that was a thing back in the day. So it's super interesting. I love like all the posts you've been sharing about this new game. And actually one of my friends, also the same guy I've been talking about, Cody, Crumb Dog Millionaire, that's what we call him.
Crumb Dog Millionaire.
He has said that there hasn't been a great wrestling game. I don't know the WW2KE, I forget. That's where I get lost.
Sure.
Whatever it's called. There hasn't been a great wrestling game in a while. Is that true?
Yeah, 100%. I think, the closest thing before this would have been, and if he's talking about WWE, then yeah, just full stop. There hasn't been one in a while that I think is like a standout that this is doing the thing I think they wanted so bad, which is getting people who would never look at a WWE game to do a double glance. Like, oh, it's fun. It's easy to jump into. Okay. And like, that's why you have like Gary playing it, right? And Snowbike Mike, who wasn't feeling it, was having a great time with us yesterday. Like you are having that kind of reaction to it in a way that, yeah, you haven't had in years.
That's pretty cool. I'm just excited that can you put your face like in the game or something? Okay.
I don't think it works well.
I'm sold on. Okay. That's even better. So
yeah, we tried to do it yesterday.
Try it out for that.
I did not like it, and I turned it over to the community. I'm like, if you guys can make this work, and I've seen some stuff on our subreddit of people working with it. I'm like, it still just doesn't look right to me. It still doesn't look right. Like I'd rather have a created guy that doesn't look normal than have my face on it like a Hannibal Lecter mask. You know what I mean? Like that's not where I want to be with it or whatever. But yeah, outside of that, I've been still playing Puzzle Quest 3. Still obsessed with Puzzle Quest 3. Still out there matching my gems, doing my dailies, getting my new armor, leveling up. I'm pushing a gear score of like 580 right now. I'm having a great time in that. Like I'm so happy with how they did that game as well. Like it's just like again, like you turn left and right no matter where you're looking right now. There's so many great games out there to take your time away. Are you mainly and only focused on Horizon, or are you playing other stuff too?
Okay, here's where the debate comes in because I'm currently torn between two games and I love Horizon so much.
Of course.
But I also love and hate Destiny 2.
Oh.
Okay. So, not gonna lie, I've actually met a really close friend through the Kind of Funny community. This ties together, I promise. Like maybe 3 years ago, during the anniversary stream, you like plugged a podcast, Respawn Aim Fire. Great podcast, by the way. And they were needing some help on their show. So I sent them an email and immediately we had a lot more in common than we thought. And we were like, yeah, absolutely. You have to be on the show. So Chad Michael Innes, one of the hosts from that show, just reached out to me. We got to know each other. And literally that's how I got into podcasting, was being on their show and realizing,
awesome.
Hey, I can do this too. And we met because of that.
Hey, these guys are clowns. They don't have talent. I can do this.
Yeah, basically. And, from that, it stemmed a Destiny relationship because not only does Chad play Destiny, him and his group of friends that also support his podcast love playing Destiny. So me and Audrey also play Destiny, my girlfriend. So now we have a full squad of 6.
Okay.
So that means
Okay.
we have to be pretty committed to raiding. And with the recent expansion, that's all I've been in, the Witch Queen. So getting the worm out of Savathun. That's what we've been doing.
So now you
That's
have a
part of
love-hate with it. It sounds all love. What's the hate? Is it the
Okay,
grind?
okay.
Is it the grind?
Here's the hate, because like literally, it's just the expansion came out like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I've been playing so much of it, and I just want to play Horizon and get through and enjoy it. But at the same time, like I can't not play because I have to get to a certain
You can't fall
light
behind.
level.
Yeah, if everybody
I
gets in
can't fall
front of you.
behind, and
Yeah.
like I see in the group chat, like, oh, we're gonna go on and do this lost sector or the strike, and like we're gonna get this gear, and I'm like seeing it, I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna quit playing Horizon and go upstairs and play Destiny. So
You see, that's the thing is like I I've done this for so long the way I do it professionally that I just can't multitask. Like I just can't do it. Like I need to sit down and binge and play something all the way through and have an opinion on it, and then I have to move on. And it's usually great, obviously, because especially now where there's just nonstop games all the time. But then there are the things, the rise of the live service game where it is, I see Kevin and Joey are playing Fortnite like every night, and it's always that thing of like, that'd be fun to do, but I need to play this, I need to play that. And like even the little thing of like, how do I want to do the WWE, it has a thing called My Faction, which is like the ultimate team stuff, where you're like unpacking cards and you use them to get other cards and yada yada yada. Like that, they have daily challenges and all that stuff, and I'm like, man, so do I have to start budgeting my time of like, my first hour of gaming will be, I'll do this little WWE to ease into it, and then I'll switch over to what I need to play for work, and always obviously what I want to play. I'm never forcing myself. I've walked away from plenty of games if I'm like, I hate this and there's no reason to. But like, yeah, it's like, as you can, like, it's why I did Destiny 2 at launch, because I could play it all the way through, and I did the raid, and I was like, cool, I'm done. And I walked away, and now it's been years and years of content that, me and Mike jumped in with the Witch Queen stuff the other week. And it was like, this was fun, but I'm not coming back. There's too much to do. And, next week's GTA Online, which I'm super excited to do, but I feel it's going to be the same thing of like, my mom's in town next week, so I'm juggling what shows I can do and then make sure she's seeing Benjamin and I'm there too. And it's like, okay, cool. Like I'm going to miss the stream next week where they play GTA Online. So it's like, am I SOL then? Like, I'm still going to play on my own, but will I be into it if I'm not with them? Like it's going to be fascinating to see how that nets out. I just can't do the games as a service, I feel like.
Yeah, it's really I can't have more than one. It's gonna be Destiny. Like I think it's interesting to see how these live service games like communities work. But I can definitely tell you, like, of all the ones I've played, like Destiny is it, and this is probably the first expansion that I went through phases with Destiny. I'd play for a few months when a new expansion came out, then I would get through it, play it, then get on to something else, and I just forgot about it for a few months. But this is the first time I've played Destiny probably a whole year before this expansion came out, just because with the pandemic and everything, like being stuck at home, I had more time to play Destiny. So I got really into it, and the changes with each season was really cool, and they've really enhanced the story to make you really want to like play this next part and know what's coming next week. But I gotta say, this expansion has been one of my favorites, and as someone that's been playing Destiny before an expansion, this has been really, really fun to dive into. I just want to play other things too, but I can't because I love Destiny.
Well, dude, I mean, like, there's such a big part of that. Like, I get that. I love that. It's like I used to always say at IGN, right? Like, if I didn't have this job, I would just be playing DC Universe Online. Like, if I didn't need to be playing other stuff and commenting on reviewing other stuff, like, if I was left to my own devices, that's what I'd go do. And I think, honestly, I'd still to this day probably, because they're still dropping episodes all the time for that. And I see it, and I look longingly at it of like, oh man, but I've done it. I've done the jump back in and do it. And I'm like, where the hell am I? What is going on? What am I grinding for? And then you're just lost if you're not there. Because when you are there consistently, and like, it's one of the reasons Animal Crossing works so well, right? Of like, when you see the seasons change, when you see there be, these content limited time drops happen, it's like, you feel like you're part of something. You feel like you have a community to that. And especially when you are playing with a literal community, you have a group to go out there and do stuff. It's why, everybody makes fun of me for loving Avengers like I did, despite all its flaws. But it was like, I don't have that. I don't have a lot of those experiences where it's me and my group of buddies that sign on and get onto voice chat and BS around and like all of a sudden talk to each other. And like, that was so comforting during pandemic for Avengers to have it be me, Goldfarb, and Sean and Tam. And like, we just got on and played together and have fun. And like, that was rad, and I'm always chasing that high, but I can only stay around for so long. It's kind of like why Outriders works so well for us as a company is like, cool, for 2 weeks or a week and a half, we all played Outriders, we beat Outriders, and we moved on to the next thing. It's why I'm excited for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Like, I love Borderlands, right? So another excuse to go through and have a narrative adventure that's going to go and end at some point, but we can drop in, drop out, and help each other. That sounds like fun.
I agree. Yeah. Like I said, it's love-hate with Destiny. I can't say I hate it, can't say I love it, because it's something about it keeps pulling me back in.
Yeah.
But I am sort of caught up now with some of the story stuff, and like we attempted the raid because the raid came out this past weekend. So now that I've experienced some of this, I am definitely going to take some extra days to play something else finally.
You've hit the top of the mountain. Now you can just like relax at least for a second.
Yep. Cool. Well, we can go ahead and dive into. I have some questions for you, Greg. Now that we're caught up where we're at with gaming and what we've been playing.
Oh well, I got muted. Chat, can you? I guess if I can't hear, you can hear me, right, chat? Hold on, chat's catching up here. Sagertron's talking about something. They're doing it. Yes. Okay. So they can hear me, and something happened to you where we don't hear you now, Jerica. Okay, good. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Madeline. I see you there. Mad Exposure. All right, so Jerica is checking settings and tapping stuff. She's not muted in Discord. It might be worth just hanging up on Discord and coming back in. I appreciate it. I see you start talking, and then you realize, wait, he can't hear me. Okay, so we're going to do that, everybody. We're going to come back. I like the show. It's going well so far. So we'll get her back in here. I'll do this. Hi, everybody. Kevin's not here to help me, so I have to do this. And then we're waiting to see her restart Discord. Come back. I always like doing this because I feel like I'm swimming. Like, try to keep my head above water. Benjamin goes swimming now. Did you know that? Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Just saying. All right, she's back. No, I still don't hear you. We got a dead stick. We got a dead stick. Your mic got lights on it? Okay, she's doing the one. Now we're playing charades. She says 1 second. Sounds like tamale. What's going on? Max Exposure says, "Does Ben wear little floaties?" No, he doesn't. It's a parent and like infant thing. So we're in there with him. I guess occasionally he's put into the pool noodle. They put him in a pool noodle. They wrap that around his body and we float him around like that. But Jenna or me is always in there holding him. He's having a great time. He splashes. He kicks. Getting close to crawling. We're not crawling yet. We haven't figured it out. Great head control. Flail around our arms a lot. Like we understand what's supposed to happen. We haven't actually got it in gear yet. Jen started feeding us some solids. We've done some carrots, some broccoli, avocado yesterday, which he liked a lot.
Testing.
There we go. Now I got you.
My microphone just decided to disconnect, I guess, and it's still connected. I don't know. We're back. All right.
Welcome back.
Ah, nice. Okay, so I do have some questions for you for our expert hard mode, but I don't want to scare you. They're not
hard mode
questions.
I'm ready. You can throw anything you want at me, Jerica. I was born to answer questions.
Okay. So, with our podcast being sort of in its infancy, we're sort of a baby podcast, but we're still growing. We had to learn a lot on our own. Do you have any tips for any other podcasters, streamers that are just starting out?
Yeah, I always come back to consistency, right? Like, I think the market is flooded right now with content creators, and the way it works, even for us, is consistency. I mean, hitting the same time every day, because people then can integrate you into their routines, which is why it's always when a PS I Love You XOXO doesn't go live at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday, the tweets start right away, the emails start right away, because people are waking up or at work or whatever, expecting that content there, because that's what they do on Tuesday mornings. It's, destination viewing for so many people. And so for you guys or anybody, especially streamers, right, you have to do that, because it is that idea that you come to that Twitch page and they aren't live. It happens to us too. You come to the Twitch page, it's Kind of Funny Games Daily at 10 a.m. and we're running late and not live. You have, depending on the dedication of that fan, a minute, 30 seconds before they're like, all right, well, I'm going to go do something else. And then their life continues and they forget that they were going to watch it that day and they're gone. And that's hard and that's a lot. And that can be the grind and what makes it feel like a job. But it's also what I think leads to success. It is routine. It is being there and finding an audience that way, because if they have that free time at one point, they're probably going to have that free time again.
Yeah. I think that's our biggest.
Your mic died again. Oh, no, hold on. Yeah, no, it did die. Say something else. No,
Hello.
Okay, there you go. Okay, you sound weird, but you're there. Okay. Yeah, you lost it, but it's... No, we got nothing. Now we're dead again. You keep working on it. Don't worry. Nothing. No, it's fine. Don't worry. Keep doing your thing. While you do that, what I'm going to do is tweet out this image I snapped here of Zetaflare, who said, dang, Ben swims, but Andy doesn't know how to swim. Crazy. That's true. We're going to tweet that out with the little emoji doing this thing where it's like thinking. I like the little emojis that use their hands because they're up to something. You know what I mean? You can't trust them. We've tagged Andy in it. We'll tag Gangster in it too. My wife. Just so you know. We can show that Andy should come to the swim class. Oh, yeah, you know what? That's actually, I'm going to tweet it, and then I'm going to respond to that tweet and say, Andy, we'll pay for you to come to swim class. Andy, well, and Jerica, you try to talk whenever you're ready, because I'm not going to, I will keep filling air, but then I will stop when I hear you. And if I don't ever hear you, I just fill the air. It's no big deal. Don't worry about it. Andy will pay for you to, Andy will pay for your swim classes with Ben. I want him to come to the infant thing, you know. Not that I'm saying he's a baby. I just think it'd be cute to see both of them learn to swim together. Andy will pay for your swim classes with Ben. Boom, done. Tweeted.
Okay.
You're back.
Yeah.
It worked.
I'm not going to touch my desk because something might be going on with the cable on attached to my mic. So I'm just going to...
I used to work at a real rinky-dinky company, and there was a part in our old studio that if you hit the floor, the power went out. So don't worry about it. I've been there.
Okay. Okay. Whew. Good information. I think that's probably like what our biggest challenge is trying to find a date where we both are always available to have the show. Especially doing a live show, because for a while we were just, recording for our podcast and not being on Twitch.
Oh, for sure.
We recently started doing that, and that's like, okay, yeah, we really need to figure out a time that we are consistent with. But right now, it's sort of impossible for us.
Of course.
So we are just gonna keep doing it until we can make it work out. But right now, like that is the most challenging part. And right now, if you decide to follow us and watch our content, just know like we are most of the time we're sort of late, and it's because of stuff like this. Most of the time, I wish we could clone Kevin because I'd love.
Oh my god!
Kevin
if I could sell clones of Kevin, if I could somehow clone Kevin, and like if he could like duplicate duplicate in Invincible, and we could somehow rent those out, they'd be worth their weight in gold. Because yeah, he makes everything run around here, and that's the thing is like, I can't applaud independent content creators who do this as a part-time thing or just for fun, because the hurdles that are in the way to make it happen. You know what I mean? Like I remember coming home from IGN and streaming Twitch stuff. I remember getting the Vita TV and trying to stream Freedom Wars and the latency and this. Granted, things have gotten better since then, but still, it was like I remember just being like, no, fuck this. I'll stream. I was streaming so long through the app inside the live app in the PlayStation because it was just easier and it worked. And I just want things to be key and work, and that's so difficult.
Yes.
It's such a backbreaker.
Well, I have another question for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So this is in regards to fostering a community. So like what do you think is like the magic sauce when it comes to like, I think you've done incredibly well with the Kind of Funny community. I know a couple of things you've put your foot down on or stood for, sort of explain to anyone that listens to the content, like this is what we are about. I don't really know, like if you want to sort of talk about that and share like how do you keep this community how it's positive like you do?
I think the big thing is putting your foot down and speaking about it, right? Like, we talked about it, I guess in 2020, right? When it felt like we were starting to stray a bit from the path with the community, where in 2015, when we launched Kind of Funny, we were very upfront, right? Of like, listen, the good thing about this is we are our own entity now, which means that there's no boss above us that's going to get mad at us for being too honest in a comment, right? Because at IGN, you're a part of a big team, which no matter how much, my face is on whatever header or any thumbnail, it still was like, somebody's being a dick in comments, I wanted to tell them to get the hell out of here and never come back. But is that really what my boss thought? Is that what Pear thought? Is that what Ziff Davis thought? And like, you go up that chain of like, you don't feel empowered to make those kind of statements. And so when we started Kind of Funny, it was very clear, you know, on that first day, just to being like, listen, if you come here and you consume the content, you're a best friend. But if you want to come here and be an asshole, get out. We don't want your money. We don't want your sub. We don't want your view. We don't want, like, we don't need to be here. Like, we don't need to worry about trying to be as big as possible. That's not what this is about. And so we said that early on, and we meant it, and it resonated with a whole bunch of people in the community for a long time. And then at some point we started shortening the messages. If you're here, you're a best friend. Like, you know what I mean? If you're listening to this, you're a best friend, which is what I used to say on GameScoop all the time. And I think it got a little bit more then of like, okay, well, where are the lines and what are we doing? And where do we, and like people started being a bit more rude to each other, a bit more gruff. And it was finally, you know, a moment in 2020 of being like, listen, let's get back on the same page here. Like, you know what I mean? Because Andy's saying stuff and people are being like, well, what about me? What about that? It's like, well, no, we're with Andy on this. And Andy's speaking for the company. He's not just speaking for himself. This is how we all feel about this. And so it was another moment of, cool, let's have this conversation and double down on what it is and wear that a bit more on our sleeves and talk a bit more about that, because we do want to be a community that does this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this would be near impossible on so many other Twitch streams or other .coms, because you would do a community day stream, right? Your mic would go out and the chat would instantly fucking go off on bleh, like, you know what I mean? Bleh, and like, tear you apart for something that's out of your control, right? Or tear me apart for, are you wasting the time doing that? Like, that's not what this is. You look at the chat, you look at the replay, everybody just rolls with the punches like, okay, cool, it'll be back in a second. Most people are saying, oh, I'm really enjoying the show so far. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like, people are here to support each other. You know what I mean? And it's something that we have done and known for so long because we've done it with you. We've built it with you. That was always the thing in 2015 of starting Kind of Funny, is we're not building this for you, we're building this with you, which means that you get to have says and we get to have conversations, and we, you know, we're going to take the company where we think we need to take the company, but we're always going to be listening to you. We're always going to want to know what you're saying about it. We're, you know, this is something we're not making, you know, and pumping out to the masses. The idea is we're making this and pumping it out to our best friends, which means that when we transgress, when we screw up, which we have in the past and we will again, like, we need to be held accountable for it. But I think there's such a difference between, hey, you guys missed the mark here and fucked up, and that's it, I'm out. You know, this is the last straw. Like, damn, you were holding on to the last straw. I was just crying on the last podcast about whatever I was crying about, and like, you were that close to bailing on it. Like, it's a different relationship we have here. And we're lucky enough that since we've said that, it's resonated. People have adopted that message. And again, to my shock and surprise, it's resonated with our partners on the other side of the industry, whether it be, you know, talking about a PlayStation who will still give us codes and consoles, or, you know, a Nintendo who I didn't work directly with at IGN, the fact that they understood what we were doing. And even to this day, where it's like, you know, I had a call today about a potential sponsored stream coming up for a game, you know, but maybe, and it was very much like, man, you know, our Steam reviews aren't great. People are mad at the game because of X, Y, and Z, but that's not what we mean. I was like, come on the show and talk about this. Come on the stream and have this conversation right now. And like, our people who like the game will go over there and be like, do it. Because it's the same thing I always talk about, where, you know, negativity is what breeds action so many times. Where, and I don't even mean negativity like you dislike something. It's when there's something horrible happening in the world, you feel like you need to speak out about it, right? But when everything's going great and you're enjoying something, you don't think about it that way. You watch the show, you enjoy the show, you bounce to your life and go on. It's when you watch the show and they say something that you don't agree with that makes you mad. It's when they, you know, transgress or whatever. It can be a really negative thing. That's when they get the comment. That's when you get the thumbs down. That's when you get the 1-star review. And so it's always so important for us to, you know, on our own stuff, to be reminding people of like, hey, it really helps out when you review the show. Hey, if you could do this, hey, Patreon, you know, like, there's all these little ways to give us a tip of the hat if you like what's going on. But I totally get why that isn't what jumps to your mind. Like, I always talk about it. I love Death, Sex, and Money. It's my favorite podcast. But I forget to renew my subscription all the time when they're doing their tote bag giveaways and stuff like that. Like, you know, everybody's so busy and there's so much going on in your life that, you know, I like to think that Kind of Funny is this respite where, you know, you can come have a conversation about games, and you might not agree. You know what I mean? We might not always have the same opinion about games, but you're not ready to, you know, gouge my eyes out when I say I didn't like Resident Evil 7, right? Yeah, Resident Evil 7. It wasn't that good of a game, and I'm glad it didn't get Game of the Year. And I told Tim it wouldn't, but nobody wanted to listen to me back then. But here we are. Greg was right. So it's honestly, it's just about being vocal about it. And I think, we get so much credit for that, and I appreciate that a lot. But I always look at what's good games too. You know what I mean? Like Andrea and Britt have been very clear of like they don't want douche nozzles in there. Like Britt goes through her comments with the ban hammer and does it, and that's like something we've always wanted to be better about, and we aren't. But like it is that idea that like, oh man, like I try to clean up YouTube comments when I think about it, when I have the free time. But if you've been watching this entire community podcast today, I booked HBO Max to talk about a movie that I didn't even watch. I totally forgot to watch the movie because there's just not enough hours in the day. And so, it's give and take, and it's empowering the community to self-censor. And I think be like, not fuck you, you're the one. It is empowering them to be like, hey, we don't do that here. And like, so we're not going to engage with that. I still to this day wish we saw more of that. I totally get that of like somebody's being a dick on the subreddit and you want to tell them they're being a dick. And yeah, I always think it's more powerful to thumbs it down and not even engage with it, or arrow it down or just say like, hey man, we don't do that here. And like, this really isn't how we treat each other and act here. So it'd be cool. Not even say, it's not your job to say it's cool if you go somewhere else. Like just tell them like, this isn't what this is about. And then you ignore it. Because all the people who are jerks on the internet, all they are is fire. And all they need is oxygen. Just don't give them the oxygen. If you starve them the oxygen and you don't do it, they go away. They don't matter. They're, the amount of times I get somebody talks some shit to me on Twitter and I click on their profile and it's, following 3,000 people followed by 2 people. It's like, well, why would I even waste my time arguing with you? You know what I mean? Just mute and move on. Who cares? I don't care. You're not changing my life. You guys changed my life, letting me do what I want to do and make content for you and stuff like that. Like, don't get hung up on these jerk ass. And I just said jerk ass. I don't even know if that's a real insult, but I did. It's like when I got really mad one time. The only time I think Tim's ever seen me really angry, it was with maybe the first time Tim ever saw me really angry. It was with an unnamed PR person at the old studio through email, where they were acting like they didn't know who the fuck I was. And I don't mean like, I'm Greg Miller, you should know who I mean. I mean like, I've worked with you for like 8 years or 7 years or whatever it was at this point. And I got so mad telling Tim the story, I called the guy a cheeseburger, which I think not an insult in any way, but cheeseburger. And Tim's like, you just call him a cheeseburger? I'm like, yes, I don't know what it means either. I'm angry.
But no, yeah, like I said, I think obviously you and the team have done an excellent job of creating a place like this where, I can meet someone else and not hesitate to reach out to them about being on their podcast, like Respawning Fire. So that's one of the things I love about, that's why I listen to your show all the time. Like daily, I try to, weekly, it is my gaming podcast just because I love the commentary and how the community is like, how it interacts with each other.
For sure. Yeah, that's the best thing about it, right? And it's the powerful thing that I think we do have is this, not everybody, lots of people have a story like you, where they saw something or interact with somebody or got on a Discord with somebody and now they're friends and they've done all this stuff. And it's the same thing, of when there wasn't a global pandemic and we were doing all the live events, when I would write the packet for Kind of Funny Live, that would be like a PDF you'd get, like telling you where to go and what to do and this, that, and the other. I'd always put in the thing too of like, if you're coming here alone or you're with somebody else and you just want to make new friends, remember when you're in line, you can turn to any one of those people and just say, what's your favorite game? And you now are into an hour-long conversation. Like everyone is here for the same reason, and everybody is, and I don't mean this as an insult to the audience because I'm the same way. Everybody is as socially awkward as each other. I wear that shirt sometimes. I guess I haven't in a while, probably on programming. Not that this matters. I'm getting way too into the shirt. But it says, introverted but willing to talk about wiener dogs. And whenever I would put up a photo of that early on, people would always be like, I don't think you understand what introverted mean. And I'd be like, no, I am very much an introvert. Like, you think I'm an extrovert because I come out and I perform on camera and blah, blah, blah. But like, the amount of times we'll be out and doing something, Jen's like, why don't you do it? I'm like, oh no, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to put myself out there that way. And like, that's a public thing in a with a different stakes than whatever. And I've learned the hard way of like, maybe the Greg Miller humor doesn't work that well on a unexpected audience. But like at a Kind of Funny live event, no way. In the Kind of Funny chat, no way. Like you're all, if you that's, I wish more people, understood they could squat up just in the chat. They could squat up on the subreddit. And I don't know if that violates the subreddit rule, but you know what I mean? Like you can go find these things and actually do it. Like I'm so stoked for the WWE game to play. I'm so stoked that on the Puzzle Quest, I have a full Kind of Funny kingdom. Like that's, we're all here for the same reason. We want to be good people and we want to play cool games.
Well, I think this is a good way to sort of wrap that up. We have one last question, and this is a fun question, not a serious topic whatsoever.
Okay.
But it is a little bit about yourself. Okay.
Sure. I hate talking about me. Sure.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
just
I
wait.
talk about myself.
Oh, okay. If we had to summon you via black magic, what are 5 items we would need to complete the summoning? Yeah, 5 items.
Mm-hmm.
The summoning of Greg Miller. Imagine like this
the
cavern,
circle.
like this cave, and
Sure.
you know, maybe there's like a pit in the middle, and where you're trying to summon you.
Sure.
I guess I don't know how dark we want to get. We're summoning you.
PlayStation Vita. 6 buffalo wings. A hazy IPA.
Okay.
Now it's like I want to Ghostbusters on Blu-ray. And Portillo.
Oh.
I'll go wherever
Perfect.
he is.
Well, perfect. Well, Greg, that sort of wraps up all of my questions on my end.
Awesome.
You know, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on the show, or technically you're on my show on your thing, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it works. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, I hope anybody that's interested wants to check me and Kayla out, listen to us talk about the most random things. Like literally 2 months ago, we both left work with ticks on us. And I know that topic is very sensitive to you, but what were the odds? And we are
sales? You do a sales job and got ticks on you?
I wish I could elaborate, but there was no way. I was in the woods. But we both had a tick on us, like a few days apart in the same place. And I have never had a tick on me, Greg. It's one thing I share with you is a fear of ticks. I hate them so much.
Get the tick patrol. Get the tick patrol ready. On my keys at all times. That's a little tick remover. My face is not gonna let you see. There it is. Yeah, see? Got that on Amazon. I got extra ones. I can mail you one, but you know. Jen drags me on some stupid hike. I find the tick, put it there, pull it, pop them off like that. Nice.
I need one of those, but I never expected to have a tick on me.
What state are you in?
Okay, so that might explain a little bit. I'm from Alabama, but I am in a cool town called Birmingham. If you've ever been, there's a Vulcan statue there. That's probably what if you Google Birmingham, you're gonna see the big Vulcan statue, and his butt is exposed. That's what I'm known for, being in Birmingham, looking at the Vulcan.
See, are ticks really a big deal in Alabama? I wouldn't have thought that.
I think they're a big deal wherever I see a brush, some tall grass.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But then again, like I said, it's still a very random occurrence that happened that we both got a tick where we were both visiting. There was no forest or grass where we were, so feels like somebody planted in there. I don't know.
I don't appreciate that. I don't like that. I don't like ticks making the move. I don't like it one bit. But I'm glad you're okay.
I survived.
Excellent.
Well, like I said, thank you so much for having me, Greg. This is it.
Thank you, Jerica. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.